Shalom, shalom. I wanted to go over some works that speak to the character of Jesus, Yashua or Yahweh. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But so everybody hears the descriptions given to us in the Gospels and in the New Testament, right? And one thing that we don't really hear about is what the Romans or other secular historians would say about him. So I've came across a few works that do speak on it, and there's two of them that I'd like to share, because these are actual historians that chronicle the trials and different things that were happening in Judea and in Rome under the control of Rome. And as most of us know, but our laws here in America, our whole governing system is not even loosely, it's based 100%. It's based off of the Roman and the Greek governing systems, governing body, however you want to word that. But we literally got our ideas from what we saw them doing thousands of years ago, right? So the important thing is when I was going through this, trying to figure out proof for Yahweh's existence outside of the Bible, so knowing what I know about the American court system, I knew that it only is logical that Rome also would not characterize, what's the word I'm looking for, but chronicle exactly what happened in their society under their rule, right? So I came across this historian. His name is Valleus Paterculus or something like that. Paterculus is how you spell his last name. But he's a Roman historian. I was just working on my car, so that's why my hands are dirty. I just can't get it off. I'm not normally that nasty. But this Roman historian, his works have largely been lost to time, right? Like supposedly we don't have any copies that he directly wrote. However, we do have other historians that speak of his writings, right? One of them is Pressian. Another probably more familiar one to most people is going to be Tacitus. And then Pontius Pilate, whom everybody's heard of, right? But Pontius Pilate, in his letter to, his letter to somebody, to Tiberius Caesar, he actually uses Valleus's notes, as like a forward of the letter, right? So this Valleus, as I said, he is a Roman historian. And a little extra information on him is he was 19 years old when Yahweh was born. He completed a work that in English we call Roman history. He completed the work in the year 31. He, based off of what Tacitus and Priscillian say, or Priscian, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, Priscian, if you're interested in looking his works up. But he makes it seem that this historian Valleus was actually close to Tiberius Caesar and knew Augustus Caesar. And he was actually praetor of Judea at the time that Augustus Caesar passed away. And they even note that Vinicius was consul at the time, right? So it's just a little bit of backstory on who he is. It also, or they claim that he descended from an equestrian family. So, these people had money. They were they were people that are higher up in the government, you know, not just him. He was obviously higher up because he was the praetor of Judea, but his family was also, right? So I'm just going to jump right into the little bit of works or writings that we have from him, right? So right here it says, and what I'm reading right now is from the Acta Pilati, or Acts of Pilate, so, and specifically from his letter to Tiberius Caesar. So it says, Valleus says that in Judea he had met a man called Jesus of Nazareth, who was one of the most remarkable characters he had ever seen, that he was more afraid of Jesus than of a whole army. For he cured all manner of diseases and raised the dead. And when he cursed orchards or fruit trees for their barrenness, they instantly withered to the roots. After referring to the wonderful works of Jesus, he says that although Jesus had such power, he did not use it to injure anyone, but seemed always inclined to help the poor. Valleus says the Jews were divided in their opinion of him, the poor class claiming him as their king and their deliverer from Roman authority, and that if Jesus should raise an army and give it power, he could sweep the whole world in a day. But the rich Jews hated and cursed him behind his back and called him an Egyptian necromancer, though they were as afraid of him as death. I like that work because it speaks to the authority that Yashua had, that he commanded, even though he was always kind and polite, and nobody ever saw the bad part of him. We don't want to call it the bad part, but the bad that he could do, if you want to say it that way. But he always was loving and kind to everybody that he came across. However, at the drop of a hat, he could have conquered the world, but it wasn't time yet. We will see in the future that side of Yahushua. He will come and he will conquer the world. I think that's beautiful to see his heart from a man who claims to be his enemy. I'm actually about to bring out some other works that speak to this same character.